Information station, WTIM.
It's the WTIM morning show. I'm Avery Cooper. Glad to have you along on this morning. Glad to be here. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust. They put people first. I have Molly Byers, manager of physical therapy at Pana Community Hospital, on the phone. Good to have you along.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right.
Good. Well, tell me a little bit about yourself. That includes where you're from, educational background, how long you've practiced physical, or rather just therapy, or physical therapy for that matter too. How long have you worked at PCH?
Well, I'm the manager of rehab. I am a physical therapist. I have been here for 17 years at Pana Community Hospital, but I have been practicing physical therapy for about 28 years. Just a little bit about myself. I grew up in Ramsey and graduated from Ramsey High School in 1988, and I transferred to Milligan for my bachelor's degree, and I got a bachelor's in biology in 1991. And then I went to Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis, where I got an entry-level master's degree in physical therapy in 1994. I practiced orthopedics for a while, and then I completed my post-professional doctorate degree in therapy in 2001, again from Washington University in St. Louis. And I've been at Pana, though, since 2010.
You mentioned you graduated in high school in the 80s.
Yeah.
Did you think you would be in physical therapy then, or did something along the journey happen to you that you thought, you know what, I really like physical therapy? How did it go for you?
I actually knew around eighth grade I dislocated my kneecap and had some
Ouch.
therapy exposure then. Yeah. And I just knew at that point this was something I wanted to do.
I mean, like I said, ouch. But I can imagine just the way they addressed your injury really inspired you to want to be able to do the same for others when you grew up. And
Yeah.
here you are now.
Yeah. It's great. It's a fun profession. When I talk to high school seniors or even college kids, I'm like, I don't know why anybody wouldn't want to be a therapist. We help people, but we have fun while we do it too. So it's a great profession.
Well, tell me a little bit about Pana Community Hospital's outpatient rehab department.
Well, we have a beautiful building out back here of the hospital. We employ 5 physical therapists, 1 occupational therapist. I have 4 PT assistants, which are physical therapist assistants. And we have 1 CODA, which is an occupational therapy assistant. One of my PTAs is also an athletic trainer, Drew Kasner, which a lot of people know Drew. He works with our high school students, athletes through an outreach program. So we have a great dynamic department. We love working with our community.
And again, this rehabilitation services, this is for the process after the orthopedic surgeons have had their bit and they are working to strengthen whatever the injury was. That
Right.
injury area.
Strengthen, get motion, work on function. It's not just orthopedics. We treat weakness, neuro patients after stroke, post-cancer patients. We have a host of specialty services.
That's a good point, too. Physical therapy sometimes doesn't need an injury or an ailment, or, well, I suppose it needs some sort of ailment, but it doesn't need a traumatic sort of injury to be necessary.
No, a large part of our population are just individuals who are weak or, especially since COVID. If you've had COVID, you know how tired and weak you get. So sometimes it's just about getting stronger, getting somebody able to feel good enough to do those activities of daily living that we do and take for granted every day.
What are some other situations someone might utilize physical therapy?
Well, we have some specialty services at Pana. So we have vestibular therapy, which is treatment of dizziness or vertigo. And not only that, but it can be related to your dizziness, it might be related to the reflexes in your eyes. So we have 2 therapists that work with that. My OT specializes in hand therapy, and she works very closely with our visiting orthopedic specialist here at the hospital. So she does a lot of hand therapy, splinting changes, just specialty services after hand or wrist forearm surgery. We do temporomandibular joint or TMJ therapy, which is a specialty training you get outside of school. So you're treating the pain in the jaw or associated like head and neck pain related to the dysfunction of the jaw. We have a therapist who does lymphedema management. So she is managing swelling in your arms or legs that is related to your lymphatic system not draining your body well. This happens a lot after surgery for cancer when they remove your lymph nodes, then your body really retains that fluid. So that kind of specializes in wrapping for lymph management. We also have a pool. So in an aquatic therapy environment, we treat all ages. It could be for pain, difficulty walking, weakness. We've had kids who can't walk who, they started in the water environment and then eventually they're able to start walking better. We've had really good success with that. So it's a great tool for us to use as therapists. We do a lot of sports enhancement, so that's not necessarily after an injury, but our athletic trainer works with the kids and they set goals on, I want to jump higher or longer, I want to be faster. He really tailors the program to their specific goals that they have for whatever sport they're wanting to improve in.
Going back to the eye and motion stuff, I'm going to be a little bit selfish here. I have motion sickness. Is that something that Pana Community Hospital's physical therapy department could address, or is it something a little bit more vertigo related?
No, it could be related to those, like I talked about the eye, the ocular reflexes.
right.
Sometimes your motion sickness comes from that. And that is definitely something some very simple exercises can help with.
I didn't realize. That's very, you're kind of taught, hey, you have motion sickness, deal with it. You know what I mean? But that
No.
doesn't have to be the case. And that's kind of physical therapy as a whole too. Sometimes you have an ailment, you don't really even realize it's an ailment. You're just kind of told to deal with it, but you don't have to. And that's what physical therapy is for.
That's exactly right. And I'd love to see the population coming to us sooner instead of being reactive. I'm hurt, I'm reacting, I need treatment. It's best if we could get ahead of the game and really see people proactively, like your posture is bad. This is going to lead to injury, or, we see these muscle tightnesses and weaknesses that we can address that might be causing pain off and on, but people don't want to address it until they actually have an injury. So we can be very proactive. We just don't always get to do that.
What makes your department stand out compared to other departments?
We have a lot of experience in our department. Between myself, I've practiced for 28 years combined total. Petra Deer, she's practiced for 22 years. Greg Pullman, he's practiced for 23 years. Julie Peacock, 22 years. And Bryce Fortner, 12 years. That's 107 years combined. A lot of our other providers in our area have less than 5 years experience. Not saying they don't do a great job, but we really have a large background, a lot of depth in what we can treat amongst our providers. And other people in our area don't have occupational therapy or an athletic trainer. So we have a great spread of services. Typically, we have a speech therapist. We're just between speech therapy providers right now. So I'll put a little plug in. If there's any speech therapists out there that would like to work for me, please send me a resume.
What are you looking for in a speech therapist?
Well, we treat a large population, so it could be pediatric for speech, following stroke for cognition, swallow therapy. Someone might have a weak voice. We do modified barium swallow studies, so you work with the radiology department, reading those swallow studies, looking for why people are choking. So a speech therapist work a whole host of things. It's not just about speech.
Of course. Let me reintroduce you. That's Molly Byers. She's manager of physical therapy at Pana Community Hospital. More from her after this short time out here on WTIM, your information station.
WTIM. Your information station. WTIM.
It's the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper. People's Bank and Trust proud to present this stream on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com's Facebook and WTIM TV YouTube. They put people first, along with Landmark of Taylorville. You always do better with Landmark. I'm on the phone with manager of physical therapy at Pana Community Hospital, Molly Byers. And Molly, you alluded to it in the first segment. You guys have this really cool pool that you use for your physical therapy department. So tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah, our pool is a wonderful option for our community. We have an 18-foot by 20-foot pool. It's a therapy pool, which means the temperature is maintained warmer. It's around 90 degrees. So you wouldn't want to swim laps in it for exercise. But it has 3 different lanes, and they're 3.5, 4.5, and 5.5 feet deep. So that gives you the option of exercising with less body weight the deeper the pool goes. That's the effect of aquatic therapy. We have a lift chair for people who can't climb the stairs. And within the pool, we have resistance jets that, you turn on, the patient can exercise against the stream of the jet. And not only do we use it in therapy, but we also use it in aquatic fitness classes through our wellness program.
Well, tell me a little bit more about the process of transitioning to maintenance or even wellness at Pana Community Hospital. I know there's their kind of goals for you.
Yeah. Well, when we treat patients, we start discussing with them as they graduate from our therapy services that they can continue to come and exercise during our hours. We call that the maintenance program. And we allow our graduates from therapy to do that for about 3 months. And that gives them a chance to learn our equipment, get used to our wellness staff, which is different than the therapy staff. And then the patients can, hopefully, we'll see them transition into our wellness program. And they function outside of our therapy hours. And so it's a great opportunity to get used to our equipment, get used to our staff. And so maybe they were shoulder, but now they can learn how to walk on the treadmill and use the leg strengthening equipment, things like that. So it's a great opportunity for our patients to remain well.
When can someone receive treatment at the physical therapy department at Pana Community Hospital?
Our therapy department is open Monday through Friday, and we have extended hours. So we start at 7 in the morning, and we treat through 5:30 at night. And we make exceptions if somebody needs a little earlier or a little later. We can do that if the patient requests it, but that's our typical hours. We're not open for outpatient on Saturday or Sunday.
How can I receive treatment at PCH Rehab?
We do like for the patients to have a referral from their provider. Your doctor, your nurse practitioner, whoever you typically see, or your specialist, your surgeon, they can give you a referral to bring to us, or it can be faxed to us, and then we will schedule you on our first available appointment time. And while you're here, we'll do your evaluation. We devise a plan of care to treat your pain, weakness, or dysfunction. We learn your goals, like what do you really want to get out of rehab? What is your goal? It's important because we can set goals for you, but we really need to know what do you want from it. And then we communicate with the provider, so your nurse or doctor, about our evaluation, and then periodically through the time that we treat you, just to give them updates, let them know how you're doing, get their feedback, make sure they don't want us to change something. It's a very interdisciplinary process amongst all our disciplines. So we love providing care to our patients in our community.
Very collaborative, if you will.
Yes, very much so. We have good working relationships with our visiting doctors who come to the hospital here in Pana for orthopedics, but we have good working relationships with the surgeons in Springfield and Decatur as well.
Well, what kind of improvements are you making to the rehab area at PCH?
Well, December is going to be challenging while we're treating our patients. We're actually getting ready we have a new flooring installed under our equipment, which is like a rubberized type of flooring you would see in YMCAs or college gyms. But now we're updating all of our flooring. So we're ripping out all our old carpet and our old tile flooring. We're getting a new beautiful floor in all of our treatment areas. So It will be challenging. Anyone who comes to see us during the month of December, working around that change, but it's going to look beautiful when it's done.
So I'd imagine you have a game plan in place for folks
We
who
do.
are, yeah. What do you guys have planned for folks during the month of December?
Well, we have an operations area where our therapist desks are. So we're actually be taking that out, moving all our tables where we typically do the bulk of our work treating our patients into that area. We'll have like a storage um, container on site just to move the stuff we don't typically use. So we'll start with our physical, occupational, speech therapy areas first, get all that done. At night, they're going to work on our hallways and access areas, and then cardiac rehab is also getting during the month of December the new like rubberized flooring under their equipment as well. So it's just staged to try to make it as easy as possible, but we will be open for service during that time.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Just wanted to clarify that even though you're making improvements, you guys will still be servicing folks throughout the
Yeah,
rest of the year and into
def-
2023.
definitely.
All right.
Yeah.
When do you expect to have the flooring completed?
Well, the goal is by the end of the year, but I believe cardiac rehab may extend into the month of January a little bit. Our goal is to start in the therapy areas on the 19th, and they felt like it'd take about 7 days to do that area. Then they'll start with cardiac rehab, and I believe their plan to take through that first week of January to get their area completely done.
Well, Molly, is there anything else that you'd like to touch on before you go?
No, I just think I want to brag on my department. We have great staff. We interact with our community. My employees go the extra mile to provide patients the care they need. So if anybody's out there hurting, please talk to your provider and come and see us. We would love to meet you and help you out.
That's Molly Byers, manager of physical therapy at Pana Community Hospital. And as she said, you can talk to your provider and ask them to have you go see the Pana Community Hospital physical therapy and rehab department. Molly, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. You can find those streams online on the TaylorvilleDailyNews.com Facebook or on YouTube at WTIM TV, or you can listen live at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
WTIM